Hello everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic, hope you're doing well, and today I'm going to give my spoiler-filled thoughts on the most recent episode of The Mandalorian, Chapter 14, The Tragedy. And so if you don't want to know any spoilers whatsoever, you should probably click away and then watch the episode and then come back. And if you don't care about spoilers, or if you've already seen it and want to hear my thoughts, stick around here. But before I do, make sure you click the like button, hit the subscribe, the bell notification to make sure you know every time a new video goes live. Also, if you could please share this video, that would be awesome because that's going to be the best way to grow this channel. All right, let's get into it. So, The Tragedy deals specifically with the biggest tragedy of all, which is that Baby Yoda, Grogu, has been stolen, and that was, of course, at the very end of the episode, but a lot of awesome things happened prior to that point. I'm not going to go too much into the plot, so I'll actually go with good old Wikipedia to give us kind of a basic overview. The Mandalorian arrives with Grogu on Tython and finds the ancient temple on top of a mountain. He places Grogu at the center so that he may choose his path. Grogu starts meditating, and a protective force field appears around him. That part of the show looked fantastic. I will say this much. I am loving the effects of the show. Are there times in other episodes where the backgrounds especially have looked really fake and green screeny? Absolutely. And I've called those out whenever I've done videos on them. But I will say that for the most part, a lot of the time they use practical effects and it looks pretty damn good. And a lot of the times, a lot of the CGI also looks pretty damn good as well. And so this entire time when he's, again, meditating and the force field is around him and he's, again, trying to figure out his pathway, we don't know exactly what's going on there. We don't know exactly who he's communicating with or what's going to result of all that. And of course, right after he finishes, what happens? Well, of course, little baby Yoda and his cuteness falls asleep because every time he uses a lot of power, he has to take a little nappy, and it's always the cutest little thing ever. And I know, I'm a simp for baby Yoda, for Grogu, but I can't help it. I think the dude is adorable. Not only do we have this going on, we also have the return of Boba Fett, and not just any Boba Fett, Dad Bod Boba Fett. And I will say this much. I love Dad Bod Boba Fett. I think that he looks fantastic. He looks badass. He's got the scars on his face. He comes back to the Mandalorian and says, "Mandalorian, I don't want anything. I want my armor." He wants his armor back. The armor, of course, that he got from his father, Jango Fett, when Jango had, of course, died back during the prequel Star Wars films, and he wants it back, and it had been stolen from him. It had been taken from him, obviously, because of the Sarlacc pit incidents and all that kind of stuff. He finally, at the end of the episode, gets it back and goes on one of the coolest sprees I've ever seen, kicking everyone's ass. And even before then, without his armor, kicking some ass. He had this amazing, I don't even know what to call it. I guess it's a staff, and it had spikes on either end. And I'm going to say this much. It was some of the coolest fight scenes that I've seen so far in this series, and that's including episodes that featured Gina Carano, who is a legitimate fighter doing her own stunts. So kudos to the stunt team on this episode, and also kudos to the people behind the camera, because I think that they were able to really show the scenes in a way where you didn't feel like you were missing anything, which is typical, unfortunately, of a lot of scenes nowadays that feature fights, where it does quick cuts, so that way you can't see the actors. That's what the great thing is about having actors, especially with very unique, rather big features, because it's easier to get a stuntman involved, or even better when they have a helmet on, because then you can easily put a stunt person in and you're not going to know the difference one way or the other. In fact, many have argued that most likely when it comes to Pascal under the Mandalorian's armor, most of the time it isn't even him. But Robert Rodriguez, who we know can do action scenes and action films very well, of course, his most recent big action film was Alita Battle Angel, which was fantastic, and obviously is a film that I've been very much pushing for a sequel to. I don't quite trust Disney to take over that. I don't quite trust them to do either a movie sequel or a series, but still, Robert Rodriguez, I think, really kind of showed, hey, guess what, guys? I'm a really good director, and I can take care of this stuff, and I can handle the plots and everything, and I think him and Jon Favreau ended up working very well on this episode. But yeah, you've got Boba Fett coming back with the Dad Bod armor, fighting, being a complete badass. You got the mercenary Fennec Shan coming back. She's like, oh, I never miss. Don't forget, I never miss. She was a badass. She did a great job. Also, again, wearing a helmet, which again helps in those fight scenes. And I really honestly think that if that's what we need in order to get really good fight sequences, then let's just go ahead and do that. Just put armor on every single person in here, unless, of course, they're Gina Carano, and you can do your own stunts, and you don't have to worry about doing quick cuts to hide the identity of the person doing the stunt, because it just makes everything look that much better. So the fight sequences in this episode are probably some of the best that we've seen on the show so far. In fact, many are arguing that this is the best episode of the show that we've seen thus far. I still hold to the Deborah Chow episodes of season 1 as being some of my favorites, but as far as the fight sequences go, this was definitely one of my favorites, especially the storyline of Boba Fett. He's showing up, he's going and he's confronting the Mandalorian. He's like, I don't want to kill you, Mandalorian. I don't want to take you out. I don't care about the baby. I don't care about any of that. I just want my armor back. I just want the armor of my father. And so it kind of almost humanizes Boba Fett to an extent. But the best part about the whole Boba Fett thing is that Boba Fett finally actually lives up to the standard that everyone has held of him for decades now, right? Everyone has always had this mystical and mythical image of Boba Fett in their minds as the biggest badass in the world, like so hardcore. And then when you go back to the movies, you're like, he doesn't really do a whole lot. Most of the time, he's just sitting in the background, and then he gets killed pretty quickly in one of the movies, and you're like, okay, I guess he's kind of cool. He's got the jetpack, he's got their cool look and everything. This episode, to me, made Boba Fett. This made Boba Fett awesome again. And not just Boba Fett, dad bod Boba Fett. It made him look like a complete badass. Armor, like with armor, without armor, again, with the staff, kicking ass. One of my favorite scenes is actually when he just smashes one of the stormtroopers in the face, and just it destroys the helmet. Like every time he's hitting the helmet and the helmets are just shattering, I'm like, dude, this guy is freaking boss. This guy is just, it's just, he's swole. I'm going to use a term that a lot of the students that I teach nowadays use. Oh, he's so swole, man, just boom. I know, I'm excited. I'm sorry. This is the ADD. Go kick it in, because this was just a very exciting episode filled with a lot of things. Of course, at the very end of the episode, what happens? The Mandalorian ship, the Razor Crest, gets destroyed by a giant ship with, again, Imperial Star Cruiser, with Moff Gideon on board with his pretty badass, still badass looking Darth Vader-like armor. We finally get a little bit of a look at the Dark Troopers, which are mostly just robotic things. I thought they were going to be a little bit more, I guess, ominous and dangerous looking, because all they really did was they went down, they surrounded Baby Yoda, and then brought Baby Yoda up to the ship, and that's pretty much all they were really doing there. But still, it was awesome to see Mandalorian flying around, Boba Fett flying around as well. Obviously, too, with the Razor Crest being destroyed, what do we now have? Oh, next episode, we're going to have not just the Mandalorian, but we're going to have Boba Fett in his armor back. We're going to have Fennec Shand back as well, the actress playing her, also doing a really good job. So it's actually got me excited now. This was, I think, the episode that moved the plot forward the most, too, because now, obviously, it's still got that video game aspect to it, right, where, oh man, the Baby Yoda, he's been taken, he's been stolen, and now we got to go on a journey to find him again, right? Everything is just a journey moving forward, but I feel like this has been the most moving forward, right? Now Moff Gideon is absolutely more of a menacing villain, because now he actually has the upper hand. Now you have other characters that are badass, and because we have, again, Boba Fett with his armor back, I hope we get even more badass sequences. One of the coolest also with Boba Fett was, what does he do? He shoots the he shoots the rocket outside of his back. He's got, of course, the scope that pops out again. So again, a lot of reminiscent stuff, a lot of nostalgic stuff going on with his armor. Gets a lot of things that were really cool there. And he blows up 2 of the ships with the stormtroopers as they're flying away before the Dark Troopers come down to take away Baby Yoda. But what does he do? He shoots one of them. It falls into the other. They both explode. Awesome looking effect. Look really badass. And then, of course, great line there saying, nice shot. Oh, I was aiming for the other one. Again, just really great chemistry between those characters. And so actually I'm excited to go over to the next episode, because I think that we're going to find some more of that badass fighting. At least I'm hoping, fingers crossed on that one. But yeah, those were my overall thoughts. I thought that the writing was very good, was very solid from Jon Favreau, who has been hit and miss, absolutely, over the last couple of seasons. The action scenes, I think, made this episode. If you've been kind of holding off on this show, or if you don't really care one way or the other, but you maybe have access to Disney Plus, I would actually recommend, hey, just watch this episode if you just want to see good action sequences. Again, you got Robert Rodriguez behind the camera doing the direction. He does a great job with it. Great, as I said, great stunt work. Seriously, the stunt team on this show definitely needs to be given some kudos. David Klein, who did the cinematography, also huge kudos to you for not doing any really stupid quick cuts away where you couldn't see it anymore. But yeah, plot has finally moved along. Grogu has been taken. They finally have called, or rather they've been said, all right, make sure you talk to Dr. Pershing. The midichlorian donor is now available, so midichlorian's probably going to make a comeback in some way, which is, again, kind of exciting because it's a throwback, and it seems to be respecting the vision of George Lucas. And I'm loving this John Favreau universe. I really am. If I had to give this rating out of 10, I would probably give it a 9.5 out of 10. I'd probably give it a solid A, maybe A minus, because as I said, it has all of the pieces of a solid episode of television, whether it is the writing, which was again fantastic, especially with just the mini storyline of Boba Fett's return. And of course, you have the action sequences shot very well. Visual effects were spot on too. Everything really worked very well. And so those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts about this episode? Did you think this was a badass episode? At the very least, what do you think of Dad Bod Boba Fett? I thought that he was pretty badass, especially with that staff. Please let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you like this video, smash the like button. I know this might not be your typical professional, ooh, I'm going to break down every single thing for you, because guess what? I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan, and as I've been saying from the very beginning, this just feels like Star Wars. Is it perfect? No. This is probably the closest to perfection as we have gotten so far within the Disney Star Wars universe when it comes to the live-action stuff. Obviously, I would include the Deborah Chow episodes from Season 1 as well, and also just the show in general. It just feels like Star Wars. Even the bad episodes still has that feeling to it, right? It still just has that overall, okay, I feel like I'm in the universe that was built by George Lucas, whereas the episodic, the sequel trilogy that we got from Disney and Kathleen Kennedy's vision just didn't feel like that. It just felt so separated. It just felt so different. So I'm loving this so far, and I cannot wait to see the end of this season. Of course, also just as a quick mention too, Cara Dune makes an appearance at the very end. She's going to help break out Mayfield, who was played by Bill Burr, so he'll be returning as well, which is actually pretty exciting. And it looks like we're going to have the band getting together, right? All the characters and all the people that we've seen throughout the episodes coming together, and could be fun. Could be interesting. I just hope that next week's episode is not a slow, wasteful, filler episode. And I don't think it will be. And the specific reason why is because when you look to the slate of episodes, the next episode is written by Rick Famuyiwa, and he is someone who has done a lot of things that I think are a lot more exciting. And so I think that will be good. It'd be interesting to see who directs the next episode. So if it's, I hope it's Deborah Chow. I don't know if she's directing any episodes this season, but if she's directing it, that could be pretty awesome. And actually, let me go ahead and try and see, because I can, do this live. We're gonna do it live. Screw it. Let's see. He had actually written an episode or two last time as well. All right. So yeah, he was involved with The Prisoner, which he also directed, and that was specifically the one. Actually, that does make a lot of sense, because that was the episode featuring Mayfield. So okay, he'll be coming back. I like that episode. Actually, that was a fun episode within the prison. And so actually, yeah. So therefore, I think next week's episode will probably be pretty good. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, please make sure you like and share the video, and please continue to enjoy movies, television, whatever it is that you possibly can. And check out my new channel, OMB Report, where I talk about news and politics, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about these days. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my December Patreon and Subscribe members, starting off with Patreon, Albertus Magnus, Andrew Hoyle, Animation Commentator, Brian P., Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Father Damian Cook, Garrett Searles, Harold Francis, The Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jeffrey Toon, Jonathan Carney, Kenneth Cameo, Laura Story, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Outpost Dyer, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Miss Martin Muses, also known as Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bogend, Tina B, and the Modern Major General, Laura Story. Gotta give you that shout out for that one time that you were doubled up. Thank you very much for being my Patreon members. And now a huge shout out to all of my December Subscribe members we have over there with Stand For, Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, Darkstar 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nevadan G. Adams, and ZK Man. Thank you all so much for being my Patreon and Subscribestar members. If you want your name shouted out at the end of every video and live stream on the main channel, please consider joining over on those platforms. You can also get access to things like exclusive giveaways of 4Ks, Blu-rays. If you want a DVD, I guess you could also get a DVD as well, digital codes, and of course, you get to possibly join me on the channel once a month for the Chosen of Valhalla live stream and access to an exclusive podcast featuring John the Flick Pick Flickinger, where we have a lot of fun talking about movies and tons of other random things. Anyway, if you want to support these things, check out the links in the description of this video. And also, please consider joining my other channel, the OMB Report, where I talk about not just movies like I do over here, but I focus more so on politics, news, and culture in that order. You guys are all amazing. Thank you for your love and support. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.